Okay, hi everyone, welcome. I'm just letting everyone enter in from the waiting room. But I will start with a real brief slideshow and then we'll get into the Q&A. Thank you everyone for joining us. This is our first SBIR Talks of the new year. We are hosting these every third of the month. So I attached our flyer in the email I think most of you may have received, so you could start registering for next month's as well. I'm Misty Madero. I am with the University of California, Riverside's Office of Technology Partnerships, and I manage our SBIR STTR Resource Center. My co-host today is Martin Kleckner, who is also an entrepreneur in residence with our EPIC SBDC, and he is our expert SBIR STTR guru. He'll help me moderate today. I'd like to tell you a little bit about our resource center. It's organized through our EPIC Small Business Development Center, or SBDC, and we provide individualized support to early stage tech entrepreneurs and companies in Southern California to grow their business at no cost. So the resource center provides these services. We're here to help. We basically are able to help you secure a winning proposal. We provide these services. We have over 15 mentors with different specialties in different areas that can help with your small business and with your SBIRs. If you're interested in learning more about the center or about our EPIC SBDC and how we can help you, here is our contact information. Please shoot me an email and I can schedule a time for us to talk a little more in depth. And of course, our webinar is brought to you today in part and thanks to the SBA and our lead center, Orange County Inland Empire Network. So with that, I'd like to begin the program. Today, since it's a Q&A, we'll have it a little bit open. You guys can raise your hand. You could put your questions in the chat. I could read the question for you, but for those of you, if you want to, when I call on you, if you want to go ahead and read your question, that's okay too. So let's get started. Do we have any questions? Anyone want to start?
I wanted to say also hi to everybody. I am away from my office. We are having a power outage today, so I am in sanctuary at in my son's kitchen. So I just wanted to give all of you a heads up that I may be joined by a 1-year-old assistant now and then to help us answer questions. So just be ready for that.
But
so
how many? Not calling from Texas, though.
Oh my goodness!
You're not, are you?
In Texas?
Oh no, are you in Texas, Martin? No.
God no, but we are
unrelated power outage.
Yeah, oh yeah, not that one. No, but we are sweating bricks about my wife's mother and her brother who are in the Galveston area. And I think they have been, we're having trouble getting a hold of them. We think that they may have an outage down there and no heat. So we're kind of biting our teeth as well. So yeah, certainly glad we're not there. No, I'm down in San Diego area. But yeah, thanks for asking. Yeah, definitely do not want to be in Texas right now.
Hi, Martin and Misty. I'm Arun. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well. Yeah.
After a long time.
Oh, it has been, Arun. Wow, this is terrific to get some context that we have been remiss. Mea culpa, by the way.
Yeah.
But been remiss. So
yeah, just yesterday I saw an announcement from National Science Foundation for their upcoming date of submission, I think sometimes in March. Tomorrow I have a deadline, so once I pass that, then day after tomorrow I'll start working on it.
Right.
Do you know that? Do you know anything about it?
Well, if it's a particular FOA, I may or I may not, but I will tell you, and for those who are not familiar, about a year ago, the National Science Foundation flipped away from deadlines unless unless there is a special project. So rather than a deadline, such as say with the DoD or the NIH, the DoD is tomorrow. Department of Energy is the 22nd. NIH is April the 5th. The National Science Foundation converted over to quarterly submissions for both the project pitch and the and submission of a full-on proposal, and so they are quarterly, which means that anytime between January and the end of March you can submit. Anytime between April and the end of April 1 and the end of June you can submit, and so forth.
So are you talking about SBIR, STTR, or?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Ara. Yes.
Okay. So yeah. So
Martin, yeah. Go ahead.
One thing, Martin, and I'm talking to Misty also. It will help if you create a slide with SBIR and STTR deadlines from multiple different agencies like NSF, NIH. NIH also has multiple different subcenters. Then DoD, DOE, and so on. And under the SBA, there are a lot of institutes, right?
Can you repeat the question? I think you. I missed a couple of words. A little bit of a breakup.
Okay. So multiple agencies have multiple different deadlines, even if it's for SBIR and STTR.
Yes, they do. Correct. So the only one is the National Science Foundation right now.
So one thing that will really help persons like me is if you create a slide, and then that slide will show NSF agency what are the deadlines. Like NSF has 4 multiple different deadlines.
So Arun, I am working on getting something up on the website.
Okay.
To at least put the known dates and to try to keep up with the ones as they come up. So and I know this year usually the agencies have a little more set deadlines, but this year the deadlines have been moved a little bit. So I'm working to get that up on the website, and I'll share that with the mailing list as soon as it's available.
Okay, that will be really helpful so that we can actually pre-plan everything.
Thanks, Arun.
Yeah, that's a great question. I appreciate you bringing that up.
Cara has a question. Cara?
Okay, good. I was just going to ask if you could see who was raising their hands.
Hi. First of all, thank you for this opportunity. I've been working. It's nice to meet you.
Likewise.
Thank you. I've been working with Jocelyn Graff and just been absolutely wonderful, and that's how I got here. Just 1 minute quick description of who I am and what we're doing. My company is the SBIR, and our goal is to research and develop products using technology that make Qigong mind-body practices widely accessible to patients with MS. We are applying to the NIH, the National Center for Complementary and Integrative Health, for the notice of special interest. The call is for the development and validation of devices or electronic systems to monitor or enhance mind-body interventions. What we are building is a Qigong app called TheraQi, and our goal is to do for Qigong what Headspace has done for meditation for MS patients. Our new technology, our institution partner is Virginia Tech, and really like a last minute figure this out in the 11th hour. The new technology that we will build with them will be to add on a motion capture tracking program to the app that will provide feedback to users about their body alignment as compared to the teacher. So our phase 1 focus would be on the research and development of this app and this technology. And I guess my question for you is that a good focus? Is that does that sound like a viable SBIR phase 1 new technology proposal?
Well, I can tell you, and is it Cara again?
Kara, yeah.
Kara, thank you.
And thank you so much again.
Sure. The answer is those types of projects are increasingly being funded.
Okay.
I may not have been able to make that claim maybe 5 years ago, but there is an increasing interest
Okay.
And in one of them that I, in a who would have thunk it sense, mindfulness meditation.
Right.
Actually, and perhaps Virginia Tech pays attention to that. We do know that there is an entire department at UC San Diego that
Right.
is working on that. So the answer is, I think that it is worthy of consideration. Again, as is always the case, the proof is in the caliber of the proposal, the study approach that is designed,
Right.
and so forth, and what are your aims. So
Right.
the answer is a cautious yes.
Okay.
It is prospectively fundable. Again, it all depends upon your background, credentials, qualifications, and so forth, that of your team. That you are working with Virginia Tech University helps a great deal.
Right.
And in fact, all of those kinds of and you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong by referring it to alternative forms of medicine, but
Right.
okay, that works.
Yeah.
100% of them have been done in concert or in collaboration with a university.
Right.
And it can either be an SBIR or an STTR, depending upon who is choosing or electing to be the principal investigator.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's answering the question or not, but
Yeah.
the point is that the answer is yes. It is worthy of consideration, and yes, there are sections within the NIH that would give it a look.
Okay, just one quick follow-up is,
Sure.
One thing that I have found confusing is what exactly can be included in the scope of phase 1. So is it simply research and development? Is there a study that what is this? What's the scope exactly? Is
Yeah,
there
the scope of phase 1 is you want to explore the feasibility of the initiative, and it is essentially a proof of concept.
Okay.
And the aim of a phase 1 is to get to phase 2, which allows you to do a much more deeper dive and more comprehensive and robust demonstration or testing of efficacy and so forth, and impact and so forth. So depending upon the agency, the dollar amounts are, I don't know, anywhere from 150,000 to $300,000.
Okay.
The NIH, which I think that you're considering, is a little bit higher, but even the NSF is 256,000 and change right now.
Okay.
So it all depends upon the merit of the study that you're proposing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And feasibility based on quantitative, or is it or measured how?
Feasibility is a testing on whether the process or the vehicle or the means that you are proposing to test to see if it can have impact or effectiveness in terms of achieving whatever your aims or your measurable endpoints are.
Okay.
And so if you can demonstrate in the lab, essentially, and even with a proof of concept or a feasibility, Cara, if you even use a small sample of humans, for example, not a heck of a lot, 5, max 10, but probably doesn't even get to 10, just to determine whether what you wanted your device or your process or your platform or whatever vehicle you're contemplating, that it is it does perform the way you want it performed. Therefore, then you can move ahead to do much more robust testing in phase 2.
Okay, that makes a whole lot of sense. Thank you so much. Really helpful.
Yeah, absolutely, my pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Yes.
Cara. Martin, we have Ed Weinberg next, then Anthony, then Harut, and then we have a question from Sonia in the chat. So if you could start with Ed.
Okay.
Well, thank
Ed.
you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Welcome back, Ed. Welcome back, Ed, by the way.
So if you remember, I'm actually conferencing in from the East Coast, and I keep coming back to Misty and yourself, because these are, I find, the most informative SBIR conversations, even better than what NSF puts out, on their road shows or information webinars. And so coincidentally, this morning, you were talking about the NSF SBIR cycle opening earlier this month. Well, I just got the email notification from NSF this morning.
You know, God bless them, Ed. They just get so absolutely slammed and inundated that they're always behind, and even the transfer, Ed, from deadlines to submit it when you are good to go, either your project pitch or the full-on proposal within sometime within the quarter, is an attempt to control this enormous load.
Well,
So
you're telepathic. You read my mind, because that's the
yeah,
nature of my question.
yeah,
So we have the open cycle now, but
right,
already have 2 pending proposals in based on, accepted project pitches.
hmm
One is that special, last year they reopened that first quarter cycle to
yep,
accept COVID-19 related.
yeah. Those were the dear colleague
Yes, the
special,
dear colleague.
right,
So I submitted that because it specifically excluded, therapeutics and vaccines.
right,
And I had, a totally different approach
hmm
that could be readily commercialized to stop the spread of COVID-19. But in any event, they kind of promised an accelerated review, and that turned out to be kind of false, because they really got overloaded from what
They
you're
just
saying.
got absolutely, I mean, proposals were backed up in a dump truck, piled on their driveway, and they just had a heck of a time. And they finally just had to, you know, create an end to it. They just could not handle the amount of proposals,
Oh,
and
so
good proposals, by the way. So that may have affected you.
yeah, so it's been impending since June,
Well,
when I submitted it.
oh,
So
okay. That's unfortunate. Unfortunately, after they cut off the dear colleague period, you were still encouraged somewhat to submit COVID-19 specific initiative proposals and so forth. But you
yeah,
were
and
taught, you were,
they had a
yeah,
specific deadline, and I met that deadline, but I haven't heard back
yeah,
since, and it got accepted. So
it did.
yeah, I just imagine what I thought would be rather restrictive and unique
Uh,
turned out to be just the opposite.
well,
So that's the nature of my question.
okay,
So
sure.
since then, I actually submitted on a different topic, the regular cycle, and now that's in the pending.
Yeah.
Uh, I did that third quarter. So now, what do I do for this open one as far as project pitches? Do I have to create yet another new topic, or so? What do you suggest I do?
I guess it all depends upon what your aims are. First of all, what's the status of the proposal that you submitted the third quarter of last year?
It just shows pending.
Still pending. Okay. So they're still experiencing the challenges. By the way, NSF has been undergoing some personnel changes as well. So there are several complications, and they just, again, got absolutely flooded. So are you proposing that um, you submit the same proposal again?
Well, what I would prefer is to get some feedback, and if it's not awarded, use that feedback to
Sure.
resubmit. If it is awarded, then I would submit on an entirely different approach.
Sure, absolutely. So to that end, yeah, submit on a different proposal. What the heck? But I guess what concerns me is that even for all the difficulties that the NSF has been encountering, you absolutely, I mean, it's February 2021 the last time I checked, for crying out loud. So that's a little bit out of line. So have you been in correspondence with your program director at all, Ed, by any chance? The one who sent you
Yes,
the, okay,
yes, and that's where I kind of got the uh, politically correct response that
sure.
we're so overloaded, we can't tell you when we're going to have it, the
Yeah, that's too
process.
bad.
So,
Who
Ed,
is your program director, by the way? Just
Oh, is it
curious.
Anna Bradley?
Doesn't ring a bell. could be
Okay.
a new person. That doesn't matter.
So
But
Ed, was it
yeah, Arun, yeah.
seed fund?
So just I'll bow out and let others who had raised their hands. So just out of curiosity, is there anyone else in the group call today that submitted in the COVID-19 DCL?
It's a good question. Has anybody else submitted a dear colleague, a response to
Yeah,
the dear colleague?
I submitted under seed fund of NSA,
Okay.
and is a again that was for the diagnostic purpose of the considering the
Right.
unique carbohydrate they have, and they
Right.
gave me the input that is still considered as a basic science, not applied science. So I said, that time the COVID-19 was almost like a peak, everybody is very much. So I said, I don't want to argue whether it is application science or basic science. So he told me to follow up with him. But,
Yeah.
Again, it's the same experience that Ed has.
I would think to both of you, but Ed in particular, we should probably reach out again and ask the question that you had mentioned. Are you really pending? Is it truly under consideration? And if so, when is the study section? When are the reviewers going to consider it? And when is the study section going to take it up?
Martin,
if it gets that far.
Martin, in your
Arun,
group,
yeah.
Martin, in your group, anybody applied for RADX, NIH RADX program, RADX, RADX?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, you would be the one.
Hi, folks.
Hi, Harut. Yeah.
Hi. Can you get up? Sounds like you can hear me.
I can't. You see, we can see and hear you both. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. You don't have to see me as long as you hear me.
No, no, you're. It's great. I can see you. Perfect.
Well, I have a quick question. Actually probably not a quick question, but it's a long one. We are brand new to SBIR. We found out about it last year, and we would love to apply for it. We are in the technology space, in the software space.
Right.
And I'm not sure if this is the right forum because it sounds like more about NIH.
No, we are across the board.
Okay.
All 12 agencies and all sub entities beneath them.
Okay. So at a high level, what I would like to know, just to tell you what we're doing, is we've been developing technology that makes it significantly faster to produce software. Some neat patent, we're trying to patent those capabilities to reduce the complexity, and some things we borrowed from cosmology and shoved it into software. So it seems to be working in the initial research, but it takes a lot of money. So we like to apply for a grant, and we had a couple of conversations, and there seems to be the writing submittal process. We don't really have any experience and need a lot of help in just writing the application, just understanding what effort it takes, what resources we need to commit. We're not working with any university, so we'd be more than happy to partner if that would help. We're in Southern California. We're pretty close to you. We're in Pasadena, actually.
Sure.
But just any advice you have, what UC Riverside can do in guiding us through this
sure
ordeal?
We get pretty heavily involved in the content. This is not to be confused with writing it on your behalf, but we are with you all the way from the commencement, which essentially is generation of interest, confirming whether, say you and I, for example, would consider, yeah, this appears to be, it might be a fundable, non-dilutive funding grant initiative. We very carefully go through the registration process in concert just to make certain we've got our ducks in a row there. If we need to submit a project pitch, we work very closely with you there, which means I can provide you with a template, you write it, you and I go over it very carefully, back and forth. back and forth until we're both feeling very comfortable that we're good to go, submit it. And more often than not, I'd say about 85, 90% of the time, we're given clearance or approval to proceed with the proposal. Then we move forward. We identify whether it's going to be a so-called broad agency announcement response or an omnibus, depending upon the agency, which means it's a general open-ended opportunity to submit something. And by the way, I mentioned project.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I think we lost Martin for a minute there.
Martin, you froze. You can't hear us probably.
I was going to say, add on after Martin finished her, that you should probably schedule some time with us to meet, and we could go through your proposal and let you know some areas that we can help you with.
I don't have a proposal. I'm sure I got nothing other than
proposal, meaning your idea. Okay. And a couple of things just for everyone out there. If you're looking to partner with UCR, we're happy to help try and partner you with a faculty here if we have one that fits that need. I know some small companies need research. Sometimes you may need some services we may be able to provide. So you can always reach out to us with that, and we can try to partner you. Sometimes we can refer you to another university if that's the case, but it doesn't hurt to come ask us with your needs, and we can let you know. Cool. And then it looks like Martin's back. You're on mute, Martin.
Yeah, I don't know why. Okay, there we go. I don't know why that happens, but now and then it just goes away from me.
I was suggesting that he set up some time to talk. Yeah. Talk with us and letting him know about some of the services we could provide.
Sure.
That maybe,
let me just wrap up what I was telling you is that we are very, very carefully by your side all the way through step by step, which means also as you are preparing your proposal, we're there. And that means, for example, if you are working with me, for every section of the proposal, statement of aims, commercialization plan, research design methods, study approach, the budget, personnel. I'd say, and relative to personnel, I'd say about 65% of the time, I may propose to you that we build your team, help you develop a team. And also, in addition to that, and the reason why we're doing that is that with all highest respect, knowing what the reviewers in the study sections are looking for, knowing that they are populated prevailingly with academics and so forth, I just want to make certain that we are presenting your proposal in the most highest qualified and credentialed way that we possibly can. So with your blessing and your agreement, we may search to build and fortify your team with co-PIs prospectively, collaborators, the whole shoot and match. And it doesn't necessarily need to be UC Riverside. It can be any university in the country. We have worked with Georgia Tech, University of Minnesota, Caltech, UCLA, USC, MIT, yada, yada, yada. It all depends upon what lab, at what research university, wherever is a best fit for you in order to help you move forward. So then you and I, therefore, would go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth until you can't stand to see or hear me anymore or read anything they have to say. But as long, my so-called mantra is you can take the pain and torture from me, or you can take it from the reviewers. It's entirely up to you. That's a tongue-in-cheek comment, by the way. But the point is that we go back and forth relentlessly until we are very comfortable that we have a quality proposal that is worthy of funding.
So speaking of quality proposal, I'm curious, in the technology space, what is your experience from the number of proposals you've prepared in that space? How many of them typically get funded? As just a percentage?
The national average is about 18%. Misty, are we in the 30s now? Something
We're
like that?
in the 30-ish, 35.
Oh,
You know, that fluctuates a little bit, but
twice the
we have a
average.
pretty good success rate.
Okay.
Certainly sometimes we have to resubmit, but I think with our, you know, close attention to detail and certainly Martin's help, we do have good success rate.
So as always, there is no guarantee, but the program directors from the agencies, they know who we are, and they know that if we are involved in a project, we're not going to send them anything that is a waste of their time or a waste of your time, quite frankly, as well. So we're kind of like your helicopter mom. I mean, we are over everything, back and forth. So it does take a lot of commitment on both of our parts. But as Misty has indicated, that gets us almost double the national average of success. But we think it's worth it. So
So,
I hope that helps.
Thank you.
Martin,
Thank you. Yeah. Who can I reach out to? I don't want to take up. There's more questions, but I can reach
I'll
out.
send you. I'll put my email in the chat, and then
Okay.
just shoot me an email.
Is there a phone number too, just in case it gets stuck in spam?
Yes, I'll put my. We're working from home, so it will go to voicemail, but I'll put my work phone number.
Okay, thank you. Whatever works.
And then Anthony is next.
Hey, Anthony.
Hey, and thank you for putting on this talk. It's been definitely been very helpful so far. Our company, we're kind of very early stage, and we're interested in applying for an SBIR to obtain the funding that we need to kind of demonstrate the feasibility for a diagnostic technology that we're developing. Mm-hmm. And one of our co-founders is an international student, and she kind of initially developed the patented technology that we're building our company around. And so she has a large portion of the company's equity. And one of the requirements that we saw for applying for the SBIR STTR was that US citizens or venture capital groups have at least 50% of the total company. And so we weren't sure if the 50% of the total company was issued stock or overall stock, or how vesting plays a role in that.
So for two agencies, it's the National Institutes of Health and the Department of Energy so far that are in agreement to have venture capital operating companies, VCOCs, hedge funds, or other private equity funds as well be participants. And that is due to the high cost and the complexity of the initiative. Mm-hmm. So they are accepted. There are rules with regard to how much a single venture fund or a hedge fund can own. So the 50% that you had mentioned is actually more than one hedge fund or one PEF or a venture capital fund and so forth. And that also includes, the definition of that, by the way, includes any affiliates or other companies that they may have a stake in as well. The definition is more control over the firm, over your company and so forth. Mm-hmm. So that is acceptable, and NIH and the Department of Energy are participating in that. Now, you had also mentioned international. So is this, where is the IP? And the reason why I'm asking that is that these need to be United States based small business concerns that are submitting these proposals. And we do have a lot of projects that actually the IP has originated elsewhere. In particular, we work very, very closely with Chile and various universities out of Santiago, Temuco, and other areas in Chile and so forth. So that being the case, and also, by the way, the PIs, the principal investigators, are also down there for their issue, their needs, we have to form a US based company, and that US based company submits the proposal.
So like we are a Delaware C Corp.
Terrific. Okay,
And then we have a Georgia business license as well.
great. Okay.
Our co-founder, who like she's an international student at Georgia Tech right now.
Oh, okay. So she's at Georgia Tech, and does she own the IP? Does Georgia Tech own the IP?
She owns the IP, and we're in the process of reassigning it to the company.
Terrific. So you're going to license it to your company. No problem. I don't know if that was your question or not, by the way, but that's not an issue.
Is it all right for, like, would we be able to submit an SBIR or STTR, given that she has like 55% of the founders portion of the company currently?
As long as it is a United States based, founded there, and it is actually she can be a 55% stakeholder there. That's not a problem. But you had mentioned you are a Delaware Corp. And the IP is out of Georgia Tech. She was a student there, but she did all of her work there. So Georgia Tech has the IP.
Owns the IP.
She
assigned
does.
to her, and we're
Okay.
currently reassigning it to the company.
Okay, well then that's okay. As long as you reassign it to the company, that's fine. Because then it renders the requirement that the PI needs to dedicate his or her time above 50%. So
Okay.
the real issue is not just stakeholding, but if she is professing or proposing to be the principal investigator, is she going to be able to, she's a student at Georgia Tech, is she going to be able to dedicate 50.1% of her time for a phase one to this initiative? Or would she need to get approval, for example, from to take essentially a sabbatical or time off in order to dedicate to this particular initiative?
So it is all right though if more than 50% of the issued stock belongs to someone who is not a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident?
She does need to be a permanent resident. Yeah, alien. So we would need to look into that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I appreciate you bringing that up because I forgot to mention that. Yeah, okay. As long now is she, how long has she been at Georgia Tech now? Is she a senior?
She's a third-year PhD. She did an undergrad for 4 years at Emory University. So she's been in the U.S. for 7 or 8 years.
So she fits the definition of a permanent resident alien. Does she have a green card?
I don't think so.
Okay, but she does fit the definition of a permanent resident alien, which is about 183 hours per 183 hours total over a 3-year period.
Okay.
Yeah, so I based upon what you're telling me, there does not appear to be an issue. Only one way to find out, and that is just to pick up the phone and confirm it. But she's been here for 7 years, and she appears to be well north of the 183 hours, which days, pardon me.
Okay.
I may have mentioned hours, but I meant days, by the way. 183 days over the course of 3 years, which includes 30 days so far in 2021, which it sounds like she's met that requirement as well.
Okay.
So far, based upon the information that you've shared, there does not appear to be an issue.
Okay. Awesome.
Great. Thanks, Anthony.
Thank you.
Our next person is Sonia had to leave, so I'm going to send you the question offline, Martin, to reply back. Jared Morgan is next.
All right. Hey, Martin, how's it going?
Oh, hey, good to see you too.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
Good to see you as always.
Yeah.
Just wanted to do a clarification on going the I-Corps route or just
Right.
going SBIR directly to NSF or NIH.
Hmm.
I'm kind of like considering both in those mind. And as you know, I'm kind of most of the way done with my NSF project pitch. So that would just be the direct NSF route. And then there's kind of a separate proposal to the I-Corps, if
Right.
I'm not mistaken. So is
Mhm.
it worth doing those in parallel, would you say?
There's a couple of ways to consider that, Jared. And number one, you again refresh my memory. You are good to go with submitting the full proposal. They give you a thumbs up by way of the project pitch.
Have not yet. Have not. So I have to submit the project pitch. I'm 90% done with the draft to submit the project pitch.
Okay.
And then I'll
All right.
submit that, and then I'll kind of go from there.
Okay, and you're welcome, Jared, of course, to ship it over and let me take a peek at it if you wish. Okay,
great.
so let's just assume hypothetically that they give you a thumbs up and you're good to go.
Okay.
If you submit a phase one proposal and if you get awarded, there is an additional grant part and parcel that you would want to include in your budget, saying that you'd like to participate in the boot camp, which is a mini version of about 30, maybe 35 of the customer discovery interviews, as opposed to a full-on national cohort, which is the Hell on Wheels 100 plus and change ones that sounds like you're familiar with.
Yeah.
So you can say, yeah, I want a budget for that and include that in your budget to the NSF, and then you will be included in the boot camp. On the other hand, given that you have now been awarded a grant, which means now you have lineage, you can also submit a proposal for a full-on national cohort as well. Mm-hmm. I'd propose that you go through the boot camp first.
Okay.
And many who have gone through the boot camp say, you know what, I still have some things to do with regard to customer discovery. Why don't I'd apply? And as you know, it's the extra $55,000 grant for the national cohort. Often I recommend to complete everything that you need to do to generate that business model. And you know, as I think as you and I discussed in the past, wink and a nod, it probably is the best way that I know of, and it's worked a myriad of times to actually discover and begin work with your initial customer base and also with strategic partners. So it's a terrific way to go. But I would suggest go for the include the boot camp as part of your budget, and go with that first, and that's ballpark around 30-ish.
Okay.
Of discovery interviews, then proceed thereafter with the national cohort.
Is the boot camp different from a regional cohort of I-Corps? Is that a separate thing? Like the regional, the ones that you guys run, that regional I-Corps thing?
The ones that we run are 8-week programs. Right. We're only asking for between 15 and 20 interviews.
Okay. Okay.
So it follows the identical format.
Yeah.
But given that the boot camp is part of the NSF grant, it goes up to 30.
Got it.
And you are compensated for it. In our regional programs, you are compensated for it as well. Okay. But the dollar amount is not equivalent to what you would be budgeting for the boot camp.
Okay.
Great. But other than that, it is essentially the same program.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Great. Got it. Yeah.
So that being said, by the way, so where are you again? You're up in the hills, up the mountains somewhere.
Yeah, I'm in Montana right now.
Oh, that's right. I remember. Okay.
I'm in Butte, Montana.
Okay.
And my partner is in Rolla, Missouri, and he's connected.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay, that rings a bell.
Adjunct faculty at Missouri S&T and a recent PhD grad. So
right. Yeah, got it. Okay, so that being noted, I was just going to propose that if you're down in our neck of the woods, and Montana is a little bit of a commute to get down here, so that probably won't work. So go for the boot camp.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
Establish the lineage there, and then I would propose that you go for the full-on national cohort thereafter.
Yeah, we actually already have lineage from Casey Burton, my partner in Rolla, Missouri. He
Oh,
is
you
a
do?
previous, he's a previous, yeah, an NSF grant recipient for some of his graduate work, his PhD work. So
Okay.
that might cover the lineage thing. Yeah, okay, great. That's a very thorough answer. Yeah.
Okay, in that case, you do have the lineage if you wanted to proceed to the national cohort, but I would say put your respective blinders on and go for the SBIR first, do the boot camp, and then do that thereafter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks,
Talk
Jared.
to you soon. Yeah.
Next is, and correct me if I'm wrong, is it Marcus or Marquise?
It's whatever you decide.
Okay.
I'm easy with both of them.
Or maybe I didn't say it right at all.
we
You're
know
next.
we know a couple of marquees, so that's.
No, I go by Marcus.
Oh, you
so
do?
really,
okay. All right.
Yeah. So really quick, you had the first woman that was speaking. You had said something, and it jumped into my head. And my question was, can a proof of concept be? Can we satisfy a proof of concept by way of M&S, or do we need to have an end item production unit or pre-production unit? That's my first question.
What do you mean by M&S?
So modeling in sim. So if I have a proof of concept in my head, and I go out, I patent it. My partner who's on the line, he patents it. And we go out and we model and sim the patent. Is that sufficient to get some sort of grant monies to actually go to the next phase, which is to develop a pre-production unit?
With your M&S, will you be able to test with the modeling and the simulation in order to answer the critical questions and address your hypotheses for proof of concept and feasibility?
Yes, we would be able to simulate energy output, shock and vibe, shake and bake, all that mill standard stuff that you find in mill standard 810.
Okay, so based upon what you're telling me, that should suffice for a phase one.
I would think so, but
yeah.
I need you to tell me absolutely not, or you're good to go. Let's set up office hours, and you could step me through it.
Okay.
And as long as I'm home by 5 o'clock, I'm good to go. So I can stay for after class from 3 o'clock to 5. I'm joking. I'm being facetious here.
I know, because as much as we would like to meet personally, we're still in Zoom world, at least for God only knows what, at least midsummer, if not later. So obviously we would need to do a deeper dive into what your initiative is all about, Marcus. But you only need what we term an MVP, a minimum viable product right now. Phase ones, for most of you who are not aware, they don't pay for capital expenditures. Or IP, by the way, now that we're talking about what they don't pay. But on the other hand, if it is necessary to develop at least an MVP type product, or as you had indicated, an M&S, in order to address specific unanswered questions and to test specific hypotheses, that is indeed fundable.
Okay, and you said that you guys are really awesome at helping out folks, like my cousin and I to get fundings. So we would be interested in seeing if there's funding or grant monies available through DOT, DOE, DOD, DARPA, and NASA. So I'm assuming you guys have
we work and have worked with all of those.
Perfect.
Yeah, and we would actually like to do more work with the Department of Transportation. My most recent ones have actually been through the University of California, Irvine, and UCSD. But we're both the DOT, and we are looking forward to actually working together even more than we're doing right now. So that's great. And yes, we have worked extensively with DARPA and the other entities that you had mentioned.
Because so really quick, and again, I'm not trying to monopolize.
No, you're fine, Marcus. Yeah,
I know you got to move on to other folks, but
sure.
But actually, I'm probably not the best person to articulate it. But as I said, if Greg could explain better than I the actual technology and where we're at, if we could switch over to him, that would be great.
Okay. Or if you just wanted to set up a time for us
Even
to
better.
do it. Yeah, maybe we should do that, Marcus and
Yeah,
Greg,
I just
by the
shot
way.
you my email in the
Okay.
chat. Yeah, send me an email and we'll set up a time for you to discuss.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Yeah, that way we'd be able to give you the time that you deserve, Marcus and Greg, and then we'll be able to do a much deeper dive.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. Yeah, no worries.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, Juan, did you have a question? I thought I saw something in the chat.
Do I need to answer any questions, by the way, under chat, by the way? I see.
Yeah, I actually asked Martin if you can explain a little bit more about the STTR. How does it work?
Sure. The STTR is essentially equivalent to the SBIR. However, it actually does require that you work with a not-for-profit research institution. So it is like working with University of California, Riverside, or any other university or a not-for-profit research institute and so forth. And as opposed to an SBIR, which calls for the principal investigator to be essentially employed, and definition of employed, by the way, means commitment between time of award and completion of the final deliverable. It's not really true, technically correct, being employed by you. It's actually time commitment of the 50.1%. The STTR allows for the principal investigator to come out of the university or the other research entity. And so it does require a collaborative effort.
So Martin, if I understood correctly, so the PI has to be from the university?
The PI has to become what?
I think he can be from the university. He doesn't have to be.
He does. Yeah, it is not a requisite. It's just that he can be. So SBIR requires that the PI is in quotations employed by your small business concern. That is not the case with an STTR. You have an option for the principal investigator to be from the university. That being noted, and Misty, you can describe the percentage of STTR awards that will go to the university in that case. You're an expert in that.
I mean, we mostly receive SBIRs. We have a handful
of
STTRs. So.
But there is a percentage of the award that goes to.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, if the award is given through an STTR,
40%.
It's 56.5, something like that.
Okay. We'll find out.
Yeah, it's 55. Let me just put it this way, everybody. With an STTR, it all depends upon the university. But with the University of California, for all campuses, it is 56.5%. I could be off a point or two right off the top. For a University of Southern California, it may be 62% for Caltech, and others it may be different. The argument there is that we're providing you with critical, highly credentialed, proven personnel. We're providing you with facilities and equipment, everything that is necessary in order to get the job done. And therefore, that's their argument for the 56.5% of the total award given. And most people will say, well, you know, all things considered, since I don't have any of that expertise and the qualifications, I'll go for it. So also, by the way, Aaron, the dollar amount available by way of STTRs versus SBIR is less. We don't have the specific numbers for fiscal year 2021, but it's overall the congressional mandate or the law is that of all the budgets of the entire research budget, intramural and extramural, that is given to SBIRs is 3.2% of the entire budget. For the STTR, it is 0.45% of the budget. Having said that, only 5 agencies out of all 12 participate in STTR. That is NSF, that is Department of Defense, that is the NIH, and then there are 2 others. Department of Energy is the 4th one, and then there's another one as well. But and those are the agencies that have over in excess of $1 billion in research funds available to be deployed extramurally and intramurally. Okay, I started babbling on there, Aaron, so I don't know if that answered the question or not, but the essential differentiation and distinguishing characteristic is that with an STTR, the PI may come from your collaborative partner at the university or another research entity.
So Martin, we have about 2 minutes, so quickly, Jalen has a question, and then Anthony had one more question in the chat about registration. So if we could take care of those 2,
sure,
then that would be great.
So who's first?
You're on mute, Jay.
Oh, Jay. Okay.
Good. Okay.
Hi, Jay.
My name is Jay Lim. Our company developed a very efficient, low-cost, non-rare earth metal magnet brushless DC motor. And we recently got Carl Seed Fund, but not the fund actually yet.
Okay.
We like to have a kind of partnership with a motor testing laboratory of UCR. Is it possible to apply SBIR?
Well, I think you mentioned 2 things, Jay. One is using a lab at the University of California, Riverside. Yes. And we do have multi-research building on campus. And it is possible for enterprises to small business concerns, that is to say, to rent space at the MRB building on campus. It is fully equipped with all the equipment and facilities requirements in order to do that. And also, by the way, enables you to work in collaboration with researchers at the university.
I see.
So that's the collaboration. And you had another question with regard to SBIR in addition to that? Yes. Or were you more interested in the MRB?
We can cooperate with the motor testing laboratory in UCR.
Yes, you can.
Apply.
And we have a gentleman by the name of David Charles Pearson, who runs that, and he is the director of innovation, and he will. We'd be very, very happy to connect you with David to discuss in detail how that may come about.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. And I guess one
David
other question
is here, and he put his email in the chat for you. Anyone interested?
Okay.
Reach out to him about MRB.
Okay, great.
And then the last question of the day is regarding registration. So Anthony said he found online that you should allow around 30 days for receiving a DUNS number, and that you should also allow 6 to 8 weeks after that to get your SAM and ERA Commons registrations. Does that mean that the total registration process should take 10 to 12 weeks? Is it
No,
possible to get the DUNS number in a faster manner?
It is possible to get the DUNS number in a faster manner. It's typically 72 hours. The SAM, System for Award Management, takes about 6 to 8 weeks because there is a manual process that comes into play there. As it turned out, several years ago, there were some ne'er-do-wells who figured out a hacking way to divert funds that were coming to us to end up in Ukraine. And apparently there were several of you SBIR awardees who were not amused. You lost your sense of humor about that. So what that means is that now there has to be a notarized letter that is manually prepared, notarized, and sent out. And they do have to go through a check to validate personnel, in particular the principal investigator and so forth, and the operating manager of the small business concern. So that takes 6 to 8 weeks, but it is sequential, by the way, as well. So you begin with DUNS. That should take no more than actually 48 to 72 hours. Then you proceed with System for Awards Management, and that takes a while. And then there are, depending upon the agency that you are submitting an application to, there are other requisites as well. NIH, for example, has e-commerce. There is also SBA that you need to register with and so forth. So it is typically 5 areas or 5 points of registration that you need to conduct. Overall, it should take no more in aggregate 6 to 8 weeks, no more than that.
Okay, because I saw online for the DUNS number on like the DNB website that you could have like 3 purchasing options. One was like free, and they said they'd get to it within the span of 30 days. One was like $229. They said they'd get expedited and you get it within a
I'm
week.
absolutely delighted that you mentioned that. And this is a message not just to you and to everybody. Under no circumstances whatsoever do you pay for any of this.
Okay.
Those are people from nefarious locations or maybe just profit motivated locations. You do not pay to get your DUNS number. You do not pay to get just don't do it.
Okay. Is there another site that I should be going to get the DUNS number?
Just get on the Dun & Bradstreet.
Okay, because that was on the Dun & Bradstreet website.
Yeah, that actually you were on someone purporting to be the Dun & Bradstreet site. You were kind of fooled into that. Get on the DNB site, and for any of you, by the way, who are interested or would like to proceed with registration, let Misty know, and we will send you guidelines, including the correct link to proceed with registration, no cost. If anybody proposes to charge you anything, you're on the wrong site.
Okay. And that's for all like 5 different registrations?
All of them. There is no charge for any of that. But we will get solicited with DNB and SAM for someone to do that on our behalf for a fee. You do not need to be a rocket scientist in order to get through that thing. It's frustrating as all get go, but you don't have to pay for that frustration. And by the way, if you do have difficulties, we of course can help you, as I indicated previously, to go through all that process. But it is generally very straightforward. And for those who may have some issues, especially concerns with timelines and things like that with systems for award management, their help desk is absolutely phenomenal. They're really, really super people, and they won't hang up until you are absolutely taken care of with whatever issues that you may have with SAM. So I'm delighted that you brought that up. So message to everybody.
That's a really good question.
Yeah, do not pay anything for any of this registration.
Okay, awesome.
All right, so we're over our time today. I would like to thank everyone for joining. I hope that you gained some insight into some of your SBIR questions. If we didn't get to your question or you think of one later, shoot me an email. For some of you, you were interested in meeting with us to talk more about your company needs, shoot me an email. We can set up a time to talk. Our next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, March 17th at 11:30. I will be sending out more information later on our topic, but looking forward to seeing you all there, and everyone have a good rest of your afternoon.
And thank you so much for joining us, and great to see some of you again. So
Good job. Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for your help.
Pleasure.
See
Be
you.
safe, stay out of
Next time.
trouble, don't get arrested.
Wear
And
the
we'll talk
mask.
to you
Wear the
soon.
mask.
Wear the mask.
Always wear the mask. Always,
Okay.
always wear the mask. No question
Right.
about it. Even for those who are going through vaccinations like yours truly here, that doesn't mean we're not going to continue to wear the mask. So be safe, everybody.